So folks, from gregarious big cats to solitary cats, here we have a lovely specimen of a leopard, and looking at the spot patterns as I've been going through all the identification processes, there he's got 3 dots just above the whisker line on his left side, and once he turns you'll see there's 3 dots on his right hand side as well. So this is 100% confirmed Hosana, and I'm sure all the viewers can confirm that. And please send through any of your comments on other ways or identifying characteristics that you are using when you spot the leopards, so that we can all work on this together. But you can see that heat affecting him as well, and there's a little bit of movement of vehicles, so he was a little bit just listening around, but there he's gone flat now. So, and his ears are quite clean. There's not really any big nicks that I've seen yet. I see on Mvula he's got quite nicked ears, and I haven't seen any real characteristics of the spots and rosettes that I can use of now. But please, let's get your comments. I know everybody's got all sorts of different ways of identifying these cats. For me, the easiest at the moment is looking at those dots above the whisker line, and the ratio being 3:3. That's the easiest way for me now to identify him. Very hot. Hey, look how that breathing is. He's really struggling a little bit in the heat. So probably not going to be very active for a little while now still. He's right next to a waterhole. We're near to Chitwa Dam. So we have gone from Impala Plains to Chitwa Dam, almost on the other side of the property. The armor comment saying that Hosana looking quite beastly. Yes, he's looking quite strong and very healthy, and he is a lovely looking male leopard. I agree with you. Absolutely. Look at that. He's in fantastic condition. He's obviously doing very well, hunting very skillfully and feeding regularly, having good exercise and good protein. Natalie, the question broke up a little bit, but it sounded like, do they always breathe so fast? Natalie, generally when it's hot during the day, they do breathe fast like that. It's all to do with their heart rate. They have a very high heart rate, and when it's hot during the day, they will breathe like that. And remember, they can't sweat like we can, so they're using their mouth and their breathing mechanism to cool them down. It's like their radiator. They're running the air over the tongue, and they're sweating through the tongue, so there's a lot of moisture around the mouth area, and they're running air over that. So that is their biggest cooling mechanism. So that's why there's a lot of panting when it gets hot, included with the heart rate. And that's why they generally, when it's hot in the middle of the day, you won't see them doing too much hunting, because it can be exhausting for them, because they've got to cool down, added to the fact of the heart rate. But if there is an opportunity and it's not too much exertion, they will still go for it. Now, he looks like he might have picked up on the sound of something or smell, and he's just having a look, but I won't be surprised if he flops down in a little while and lies down. Now look, he's passing the air over the tongue, for cooling down. So that's his radiator right there in the front. So we're going to sit here with Hosana for quite a little while, and from one flat cat moving over to Taylor in the Mara, who I think has got lions to show you. Right folks, so from one sleeping group of lions to a sleepy leopard, Hosana hasn't moved much except for plonking his head down in the grass and continuing on his slumber. Now, we just want to try and hang here in this area so that when it cools down, we can see what he gets up to, because we could leave this area and he gets up, he walks behind a bush and he's gone. So the best bet for us is actually to wait here and see what he gets up to. It's always nice staying in the presence of a leopard or lions, even though sometimes they are flat out like this. You never know when the action is going to start, so they do need to just hang around. There's another vehicle with some guests approaching. If you can hear the vehicle going, that's just them, and that's just made him lift his head up a little bit there. Shame. There we go, going back to sleep. They are very habituated with the vehicles, so it doesn't bother them much at all. Even the vehicles coming in and out to come and have a view, that doesn't really change their behavior whatsoever. Now, we just always need to remember that the people coming in to view these animals are the ones that are paying the money that we can keep these animals protected in these areas. So although sometimes it can seem like we maybe are disturbing them, we do need to remember that we need to keep the balance of not disturbing them as much as possible, but also getting people in that will keep coming and getting fantastic images, etc., and they bring the money to help us. And the people that are managing the park and the reserve, Kruger Park, to protect these very animals that we're viewing. So it's an important part of conservation, and if we can get them habituated to the vehicles, all the more better, because then we can get people in to see beautiful cats like this, and they will keep coming back for more and paying the money to keep them protected. Okay, folks, so Hosana is quiet on the floor there, but in the meantime, Taylor's got some lions who I think might be hunting a giraffe, so let's go to her. Okay, folks, so we're still sitting here with Hosana, who's doing what cats do best, rolling around and sleeping off the midday heat. And while we're sitting here, I've just been going through the whole family tree. Now, for any of the newer viewers, Hosana, which is this leopard we're looking at now, was born on the 6th of February 2016. So he's coming up for 2 years old, and he's a very big cat for that age. He'll look up every now and then. And his two sisters, who were also born by Karula, which means the queen, who is assumed to be dead or disappeared or left the area completely. She gave birth to 2 females in 2006, and that is now Shadow and Tandi. So they're a lot older than Hosana. He did have a sister called Shongile, and it's assumed that she is dead as well, but not sure. So that is the group here. Hosana's father is Tingana. So, and then on the property as well, so we've got Shadow and Tandi and Hosana. Greasy asking the question, I didn't get the first part of it. It's saying something about adapting while sleeping. Now, I'm just going to ask just for the first part of that question again, just so I can answer your question nicely for you. All right, I'm not getting the first part of the question there. Adapting while they're sleeping. Right. Okay, I've got the question nicely now. Reese, can leopards be attacked while they're sleeping? Absolutely they can, but remembering that the animals that will attack them while they're sleeping would generally be hyena or lion, and other predators like that. So it could also be wild dogs coming past. So, cheetah wouldn't generally take a chance with leopard because they're on a little bit of a lighter scale than leopards. They're built more for speed, so they wouldn't really take a chance, and they're one of the predators that do move around during the day, as do wild dogs, both being day hunters, trying to avoid these bigger cats, the leopard and the lion. So sleeping like that, you generally would say that cheetah, wild dog, not particularly going to bother leopards. Those are the ones that they'd probably come into contact with the most during the day. And then lions, yes, if lions were walking around and he was sleeping like that, they would attack him. But that's also why every now and then he does pick his head up. He just has a quick look around, and also the advantage of going and climbing up a lovely tree, and then he can really relax, because the chances of a lion coming up a tree are very slim, and if they do, they're going to warn him, because they are clumsy climbers, and he will know long before they get anywhere near him that they're coming, and he could then just jump out of the tree and climb up another one. So their biggest enemy or predator would be that of lions and other leopard per se, because they also are territorial, so they'll also fight with each other. So yes, please keep those questions coming in. We love spending time with leopards, and we love having the interaction with everybody out there. So as I've said, the sun is now dipping a little bit behind the clouds. We have been relieved a little bit of the heat, so it's cooling off slightly. We might get an opportunity to see him get up soon. Palin making the comment that they look so clean and beautiful, like they've just had a wash. Well, if you've got a domestic cat at home, you will also notice that they do spend a lot of time cleaning themselves with their tongue. They also lick their paws and wipe it around the head area. So cats are very good at cleaning themselves, especially leopard. Lions, not so much, but they do have a lot more hair, especially around the head. So male lions can look a little bit more scraggly than leopards, but the leopard's hair is a little bit shorter. So it is, I would say, more easily maintained. It's like a long-haired dog versus a short-haired dog, or I'm just trying to draw a comparison to a domestic animal that you might have at home. But absolutely, they're almost self-cleaning. They look fantastically beautiful with that coat that looks like it's been run through the washing machine. Proud Cat Mama asking the question, do domestic cats and leopards share other similar behaviors? Well, we can draw a lot of comparisons with most cats. If you look at the way this cat is lying, and you look at the way that your domestic cat lies, when he's sleeping at home, your domestic cat, and he stands up, the first thing that they do is that cat stretching almost every single muscle in their body. And that enables them to be able to move from stationary to sprinting immediately after that. So that behavior of going from sleeping to activity, almost identical in all cats. The sleeping part of things, I'm sure if you've got a domestic cat, you will see how much they sleep. They can sleep 20 hours a day. It all depends on the weather. You can see with the domestic cats at home as well. When it's hot, they spend a lot of time sleeping. If it's cooler, they are generally more active. And the whole behavior around hunting with these cats as well is very similar, whether they're attacking impala or buffalo or little mice at home. It's that instinctive behavior of chasing a moving target. So if you pull a little piece of string for a cat at home, what does he do? He pounces. Now, if a warthog come running past this leopard at any moment, I can guarantee you he will jump up and chase it. It's instinctive, and that's where we get a bit of problem scenarios with farmers. That's where leopards and wild cats run into problems, because if they get into an area where there are sheep or goats in an enclosed area and they start to chase them, normally in the wild the rest would all run away, so they would grab one and kill it, but because all the rest is still hanging around, so that instinctive killing behavior just continues, and they could literally wipe out an entire herd in the space of an evening and not having eaten much. And that's why the farmers really despise the predators, especially in the olden days, that we say, years gone by, when they didn't understand behavior per se of these cats, and they just thought that they were being spiteful, killing an entire herd and not eating anything. So things have changed slightly. There's also less predatory cats in domestic areas, but it does happen with caracal and leopards getting into these kraals and areas, because they can go under fences. They are not held into the reserve. They obviously do stay here, but if this leopard wanted to leave the Kruger Park, it will. It is not, doesn't matter what fence you put around, they will climb over it, they'll climb under it. I just actually recently today saw a whole series of photos of a leopard leaving the Kruger Park via the top of the fence, the electric fence I might add, jumping to the top and climbing through. So quite incredible. They're not going to be kept in. So there's lots of behaviors that is almost identical throughout. So to answer that question, it's all just the difference being in the size of the cat and its social behavior. Mostly of them, almost all cats are solitary. That's why the lions are quite special. They're gregarious, they stay in groups, but the individual behavior is still very similar. And they will also, in cases where you do have domestic cats inside a house, the wind is picking up a little bit, they do get a little bit confused with the behavior. If you have a lot of domestic cats, they get quite confused because they're normally solitary. I mean, a domestic cat coming from the African wildcat in the Cleopatra era, where she would have domesticated cats, there's just quite a strong breeze coming through here, and Hosana's lifted his head up. He's maybe smelling some of the prey towards Chitwa there. But yes, so domestic cats being domestic cats, they were domesticated during the Cleopatra era, and not normal for them to be in big groups, and that's why you have a little bit of weird behavior happening inside a house where you've got lots of cats, and they start marking the furniture, and people think they're crazy, but it's actually us, the crazy ones, sticking lots of cats in an enclosed space. So while we sit here with Hosana, we're going to stay with him until he moves. Let's go over to Jamie, who's got some elephants for you.